Hi, everyone. Welcome. All right, we can go ahead and get started. Can everyone hear me okay? Give me a little nod. All right, awesome. So my name is Gwen Jones. I am one of the Rogama directors, and we are part of recruitment team. We're going to go introduce ourselves more in depth afterwards, but I just wanted to kind of set the meeting expectations. So what we're going to do is just kind of go over some details about recruitment and then go more into depth about what kind of tips and tricks for the application and what chapters are looking for to kind of make your process easier. So we ask that you stay on mute unless you have a question and utilize the chat if there's something that we're saying that isn't clear to you or you're not really sure what to do, because we have very qualified individuals here to answer those questions. So we don't want any questions to go unanswered, so you can definitely feel free to ask anything you need, but we'll go ahead and introduce the rest of the recruitment team.
Hi everyone, I'm Jamie. I'm one of the other Rogama directors with Gwen. Our position is just to handle all of the Rogamas, which are essentially going to be your recruitment counselors. So they're just going to help you through the whole entire process of recruitment from beginning to end. So they're awesome resources to have, and we're so excited for all of you to meet them.
Hi everyone, I'm Victoria. I'm Director of Recruitment Chairs. So each individual chapter has their own recruitment chair, and basically I have a meeting with them once a week to talk about all things recruitment. So yeah, that's me.
Hi, I'm Morgan Finney. I'm one of the operations directors with Alex, and we're in charge of things like apparel, and you guys see some of the stuff that we have for this year. And yeah.
I'm Alex, and like Morgan said, I'm one of the other operations directors, so we're here to help out recruitment team with all kinds of logistics and fun stuff. So super excited to have you guys here today.
Hi everyone, I'm Maddie. I'm the computer director, so I'm in charge of ICS, which is where you guys submit your applications to. So if you have changes or stuff on that, you will be emailing me, and ranking for chapters and for PNMs that goes through me. So.
All right, now that you've met some of my very good friends, we're going to go over some more specific details about recruitment. And like I said, if you have any questions, utilize the chat, and then we're going to open up the floor towards the end of this session. So first thing we wanted to say is the new deadline for recruitment applications is December 31st. If you have not checked the website is a fantastic resource. We're going to put all of the information on the website and keep that up to date. So if you have any questions right off the bat, the website is always a super good resource. And yeah, so December 31st, you can submit it earlier. We would encourage you to submit it earlier. You're going to start being assigned to your Rogamas within like the next month or so. So anytime that you feel comfortable submitting it between now and then would be a really good idea. So you can get connected with your Rogama and kind of ask her any questions that pop up. Yeah, so Alexis just sent the website in the chat. That is a fantastic resource, like I said, and it has the answers to most of your questions.
All right, so real quickly, we're just kind of review the whole schedule for recruitment for this year. So like one had mentioned, the website is a great resource. Alexis threw it in the chat. Everything that you need to know about recruitment is on there. I have it pulled up right now looking at the schedule. So that's where I'm getting my information. So it's very reliable for all of you as well. Another good resource also is the Panhellenic Instagram. So we really advertise this Q&A session there. So there's a lot of things that you can learn from it as well. It's just Panhellenic Indiana. So go ahead and give them a follow. So just real quickly going over some of the days of recruitment. So you all will be completing a PNM orientation. So this is going to be something on Canvas that you will all fill out. This will be done by January 22nd of 2021. And from there, the ball will begin rolling for recruitment. So open invite, which all of you, well, you might not all know, but it's going to be virtual. So when you're filling out those applications, the questions that you're all answering about is essentially your open invite round. So You'll also watch videos and everything like that that your program will tell you more about. But this round is going to start Monday, January 25th, and it'll go to January 27th. And then philanthropy and service round, which is going to be virtual, and this is when you're going to actually begin meeting women of chapters on Zoom. This is going to start Friday, January 29th through Sunday, January 31st. So it's a little bit farther back in January, but this is when you're actually going to start communicating with all of those women of the chapters. And there's a very in-depth schedule on the website as well. So I encourage you all to check that out. And then sisterhood round, which is going to be the third one. That is going to start Thursday, February 4th and go through Saturday, February 6th. And then last round, preference round, which virtual as well. All of these rounds are going to be virtual. This is going to be Saturday, February 13th of 2021. So that's just a little brief overview of the schedule, but it's really broken down specifically on the website. So we really encourage you all to go ahead and check that out. So we are going to throw it over to Victoria now. She's going to talk a little bit about what the chapters are looking for. We know some of you might be struggling a little bit with the application, fill that out. But Victoria is going to offer a little bit of advice coming from the chapters directly on what they're essentially looking for in all of your applications.
All right, cool. Thanks, Jamie. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really quick. So actually, I'll do a little intro. So in my meetings with the 22 recruitment directors on campus, I asked them to fill out a Google form with basically tips. The Google form was called Tips for PNMs. So essentially, they wrote down what they want to hear in your applications and their advice to you for recruitment in general. So Alex made a beautiful little graphic, and I'm going to show you guys. Can everyone see? Perfect. Okay. So kind of just going through, this is word for word exactly what these chapter members said in this Google form. So going through them, be genuine with your responses. We would rather hear about who you actually are instead of who you think you want to be. We're looking for PNMs who truly align with the personality and values of our chapter. Be yourself. We're looking for genuine women who want a genuine sisterhood experience. Share your personality, be honest, and be thoughtful in your responses. They want to hear your life goals, personal goals, what you're looking for in an organization. How do you think an organization will help you grow? What you want out of your college experience, interests, and honesty. We understand how hard it is to know all of these things during your first few years of college, but we're looking more for self-reflection and honesty. Answer these questions genuinely. We want to be able to get a feel for who you are as a person, what you value, what your personality is like, etc. If you feel like your answers are too long, that's okay. They just want to know information about you, so a long answer is fine. We're excited to read your essay answers and figure out what makes you you. Smiley face. Be yourself. Don't feel pressured to say something that doesn't feel like you. Also include some things that are important to you and that you're most proud of. Don't overthink your responses. I think this is a huge one. Don't overthink your responses. These are not college acceptance essays, and we want to see your personality shine. Show your personality and don't worry about being too formal. So obviously there's a pretty common theme here. Honesty is huge. Being yourself, huge. Don't tell the chapter members what they want to hear, what you think they want to hear. Be yourself. Write down what you're passionate about, what your values are. Show what makes you you. That's all we want. That's all any of the chapter members want. Honesty. Honesty and being genuine. So hopefully this helps you guys a little bit more. And this will also be posted on the Panhellenic website if you guys want to read more or review these. But I think these were great responses. I wish I had this when I was going through recruitment as a PNM. So hopefully you guys take advantage of this resource, and hopefully it helps you with your essay questions and in recruitment in general.
Awesome. Thank you, V. Okay, so Gwen and I are going to kind of just do a walkthrough of the questions now and just talk a little bit about how we would go about answering them. So by no means is this saying this is exactly what you should say. This is just something that we just want to share a little bit about how we would go about answering these questions, because I know it can be hard to kind of stare at some things like this and be like, oh, well, where do I start? I have so much to write about, or I don't exactly know what to write about at the moment. So we just want to give a little bit of inspiration and hopefully can help you out. So Gwen, you want to start it off?
Yep. All right. So the first question, what part or parts of being in a sorority are you most looking forward to? That can literally be anything, but just make sure that you are taking a couple seconds to reflect and think about why you do want to go through recruitment, whether it's to find your best friends or find like a good philanthropic cause. Like there's so many reasons to join a sorority, and I think and the chapters just want you to be honest and think about what you're looking forward to, whether it's having a group of women that you can depend on, who can empower you, anything like that. Like we just want everyone to kind of think back and think about why they want to go through recruitment in the first place. And if you're not really sure, that's okay, but just think about if you had your ideal sorority life, what would be involved in that? And like, is there anything that you are looking forward to the most? Like I said, friendships or like philanthropies or just having a sisterhood, meeting new people. It's a very broad question. So you can do anything that you really want. But like we said, just be genuine and don't answer these questions how you think that the recruitment chairs want you to, because I think that they're going to be able to see through that. And when they get to know you, it might not be the best fit if you weren't being totally genuine on your application. If that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly what Gwen said. And kind of like Victoria had mentioned earlier, this is just a really good time for you to show your values and everything. So definitely take advantage of these questions to be able to showcase who you are and what you value as a person. So the second question, why did you choose your major and what is most interesting to you about the field of study? So I know as a freshman, I changed my major 2 or 3 times. So if you're not entirely sure, don't feel super pressured by this definite answer. If you're still exploring career options, that's totally fine. This is a good place for you to talk about it. And I think by joining a sorority, you have so many opportunities to learn about people's majors and what they're interested in studying as well. So, just being able to write about things that you're passionate about studying in your future career. For me, I would say my major is neuroscience. I chose this major because I'm so interested in science in general, something that I want to pursue in my future career. And I think that the brain is so fascinating. I am definitely a science nerd, but I love learning about like developmental neuroscience and the way that people's brains work and what happens when they don't work and everything like that. And I just knew that, biology and chemistry is something that's so interesting as well. And I know I'm going to need to use it in my future career, but being able to study neuroscience and apply it to certain areas in science is something that I am super passionate about. So that's how I would go about answering that question.
All right, and then for number 3, what do you hope to become during time at IU? So like we've kind of been talking about, thinking about your values, kind of dig deeper into that and think about things that you want to be involved in, like on campus or anything. So in high school, I was super involved in lacrosse. So as soon as I got to college, I knew that I wanted to go join the club lacrosse team. So that was one of the very first things that I did, and it has been a fantastic decision. So this is not like, what do you hope to be involved with during your time at IU, like a sorority? Yes, that is the purpose of filling out the application. So it's deeper than that. It's just like, oh, I'm super passionate about service, so I'm going to go join a service organization or a service fraternity at IU. And there's a lot of good websites and resources that IU offers that can give you a little bit more insight into these like clubs and the club names. If you're super interested in squirrel watching, we have a squirrel watching club. I've heard great things about it. So there's untapped potential here. We just want you to think more about like things outside of a sorority that you would be involved in and you want to join outside of being in a sorority, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I would just kind of go into my interests. Like in high school, I was super interested in sports, so I knew I wanted to join a sports team along with the sorority, and then kind of go into more details about that. So anything in high school that you were passionate about, student government, service, like I said, like any sort of sport team or I don't know, like club that you loved, like talk about that and then talk about getting more involved with that club or organization at IU.
Okay. Sorry, I guess my microphone is a little bit muffled. Is it a little better now? Yeah, okay. Alrighty. So, what are some of your hobbies, interests, and passions? So, this is a really good opportunity once again for you to just go more in depth about like what you value in life and what you're really interested in doing. So, for this, I would say that something I'm super passionate about is bringing others together for a common goal. So, I love to plan like events for my family, whether it's, a birthday party, a graduation party. Over quarantine, I planned a ton of random things for my family, theme nights and dinners just to keep everything interesting. So this just kind of is something I'm passionate about, bringing others together. And I think that ways that I've like tried to get involved with this is by planning these creative events. For example, over quarantine, my sister turned 18 and we did like a 18 days of Kylie in order to celebrate leading up to her birthday. So I just love to get creative and plan different things like that. So that is one of the ways I'd go about answering this one.
All right, next up. So what values or traits do you hold that guide you to be yourself and pursue your goals? And then how do you hope to find these values and traits in a chapter? So something that makes Indiana University's recruitment process super unique is that it is values-based. It's not based off of how you look or how you dress or how you act. And even more so this year, since it's all virtual, it's going to be especially values-based because every chapter holds their own unique set of values. And while a lot of those values like intersect, they are different and their chapters have unique personalities and everything like that. But a lot of the values that we hold are the same. So kind of thinking about what you value most. And if you have absolutely no idea, there are a bunch of like little quizzes and like things on Google and I'm sure BuzzFeed that can help you out. But it's really just about digging deep and like thinking, what do you value? So definitely something that I value is my family. So I would talk about that and say that I would hope to find a chapter that with members who also value their families and value time with their families. You don't have to have like the most like wholesome values. Like you don't have to think about it like that, but just something like if you value friendship or you value like integrity or honesty or really anything. It's whatever you hold most dear and like so specific traits that guide you to be yourself. So like for me it's independence, like thinking about what makes you you and how you hope to find that in a chapter and how you hope to find women with similar values to you in a chapter basically. So going more in depth, just thinking about what things that you couldn't live without, things that guide you. Like if you had no physical things, what would you have that can help you through life basically? I don't know, like I always think about family and friendship and like honesty and communication. Like I think those are some of my core values. So just thinking about what yours are and then kind of just thinking about what your ideal chapter environment would be and how you hope to find people that you can surround yourself with that will make you better and really pull out those values and turn them into a positive light. So yeah.
Okay, so the next question is, how have you tried to stay positive during the pandemic? So this is just another opportunity for you to share a little bit about yourself. What were you doing during the pandemic? In what ways did you try to keep up a happy spirit? Things like that. So going back to what I was talking about earlier about what I'm passionate about, during the pandemic, I tried to stay positive by just remembering, all those things that are important in life and, how lucky I was at different times. I definitely leaned on my family a lot for support. I am so lucky to be really close with my family. And, although being stuck in a house for like 4 or 5 months seems a little bit intimidating to spend that much time with your family after being away at college, I definitely think that by, remembering that I have my parents and my siblings there to support me, and we all were in it together to get through it. That's definitely one of the biggest ways I stay positive. Like I mentioned earlier, how I love planning events. I also try to, bring a little bit of fun into my family and my cousins and all my neighbors' lives, whether it was having social distance themed dinner or just hanging out and sitting around the fire in our backyard. Just trying to remember that although it really is a stressful and scary time in all of our lives, there's going to be something good to come out of it in the end. And just remember that there are still things that make us happy. So, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So the last one, what is a fun fact about yourself? I mean, this has got to be the most fun question on the entire application. Have fun with it. If you have a fun fact that is just the most crazy thing ever, put it down. No one is judging you based off of this fun fact. It's just something that makes you unique. So you can be like, for me, I'm left-handed. I've been to every state but Hawaii, like things like that. Even if it's something like silly and goofy, that's like totally fine. This kind of replaces the question on like our white cards that was like, what are you passionate about? And my little put that she's passionate about Wendy's 4 for 4. So you really can have fun with it and put whatever you want on here. It's just another way to make you like stand out and help chapter members remember you. Also, with this application, you are supposed to submit a resume. If you've heard the rumor going around that it's a fun resume, it is not. It is a professional resume, but I'm glad that you have a fun resume if you do. But we're asking for like professional resumes. It doesn't have to be like Microsoft Word and like Google Docs have like resume templates if you need help with that. And then also Google, great resource again for building that resume. It doesn't have to be super in depth. And we know that you are most likely freshmen or sophomores in college, so you don't have to have a full decked out resume. That's no expectation of that at all. And also like you can fill it out with some high school stuff as well, because it's probably been a little bit difficult to get super involved on campus with the pandemic. So don't stress about that. It's definitely just like a loose draft of your resume, but it is professional. We just wanted to mention that.
Okay, and real quick, just a little bit of a reminder that everyone does need to complete a prospective member orientation, and one of the modules there is values exploration. So kind of like Gwen talked about earlier with searching for your values, it will just be so important for you to be able to fill this out and get it done before recruitment. So in order to enroll in this, it's just a module. You can go to, I can set it in the chat also, but it's go.iu.edu/OSFL. And there will be an area where you can click on and it'll just teach you how to join. Oh, thank you, Alexis. So there's that, and just make sure that you're enrolling in that and signing up and getting the prospective member orientation done in time. Alrighty. So I think those are the questions that we just wanted to go through with all of you. And now we just want to open up the floor to any questions. No questions are dumb questions, so feel free to ask anything and we will do our very best to answer them for all of you. If you want to use the chat function or come off of mute, whatever is easier for all of you.
Okay, I'll go because I just had a question. For like when we move back, like will the parties like be arranged? Like will there be like breaks so we can like move in and not have like a party at the same time?
So the schedule that's online, because I believe we all come back in the first week of February. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone?
Yeah, it's the first week.
First week of February. Okay, so during that week, so your philanthropy and service round will be that Friday, January 29th until the 31st. So I'm sorry, let's see. So okay, Alexis is saying it should not interfere with moving back. The schedules were created so that there are no recruitment rounds Saturday afternoon or Sunday. So you should be able to move back. But if you know ahead of time that there is going to be a conflict with moving in, just let your ROGAMAs know. I mean, it definitely is mandatory to attend every single party, but if you know that there, is something that you already have planned, whether it's a flight or something, getting back to campus, just communicate that with your ROGEMA as early on as possible. But if you want to just go ahead and look at the website and go through the schedule and just see ahead of time if anything interferes with that, you can definitely go ahead and look at that and contact one of us.
Thank you.
We won't necessarily be able to alter a schedule, but just so you can kind of plan in advance if you're booking a flight or driving back in.
I can take some questions from the chat. So one of them is, what's the dress code for the Zooms? So there's no dress code. We're telling chapter members to wear what they feel most comfortable in, and we suggest that you guys do the same. So wear whatever you're most comfortable with.
You guys will be receiving a PNM philanthropy shirt soon. Once you register and everything, we're going to figure out how we get those to you guys, but you guys will have that to wear during philanthropy round.
Yes, exactly. Thanks, Morgan. And then for sisterhood and preference round, wear whatever you're most comfortable with. And then, so for the resume, does that mean we should not put our name in a different color / font? Also, should we include a picture? We're not being very picky with resume, like color font wise, just as long as your resume is professional and has like your professional achievements on there. But we're not going to be picky about color or font. And then I'm pretty sure when you register for recruitment, you do upload a photo there. So you don't have to put it in your resume. And when you register for recruitment on the Panhandle website, that's when you submit your resume, I believe. And it's due, so registration closes December 31st. So that's the last day. But we recommend that you do it sooner rather than later, just because those questions are kind of lengthy and we want you guys to think about your answers. And then next question. Oh, this may be a question for Liz or Alexis about payment. There have been payment issues regarding recruitment registration, but I'm not sure how Alexis and Liz have been handling that.
Yeah, I can pop in.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alexis Karwoski. I am the Panhellenic advisor. The words are hard today, but get to work with this team. They're really amazing student leaders. So glad you're interested in joining the community. If you are having trouble with submitting your payment, which is a requirement in order to submit your registration form, there are a couple things that you need to do to troubleshoot before you email us. And so the biggest one is that most of the time, the reason why payments are not going through is that information is not being put into your registration form in the correct format. So when it asks for dates or when it asks for numbers or emails, it must be indicated as it tells you, especially when you get to the point where you're putting in your credit card information. If you don't put the date in the right format, then it won't submit. So that's the first thing that you'll need to go back through and double check all of those pieces. Some internet browsers and computer types also are not super compatible with ICS, which is our intercollegiate services where the registration form is through. So if you know you're putting everything in right, try a different browser. So if you're normally Internet Explorer, Safari, or Firefox, or Chrome, switch around and try a different one or try a different computer. So if you're working off of a MacBook, I think that typically ICS is not super compatible with MacBooks, so try working from a PC. If you've tried all of that, so tried submitting in various internet browsers, from a different computer and verified everything is in the correct format, then you can go ahead and email us. You can email, and one of the recruitment team members can put their email in there. You can email our computer director directly, so Maddie Stacy. So Maddie, if you want to put your email in there, that could be good. Or you can email Liz, our VP of recruitment, and her email we'll put in there too. And then we will help to troubleshoot because there's some other workarounds we can do. If you have additional questions about that or you've already tried those things, I'm happy to hang back to help you look through and figure out what's going on.
Thanks, Alexis. And then there was a second part to that question, what is the difference between resume and the section to add activities? I'm not sure if there's a limit on how many activities you can add, but I would just, so a resume, it's supposed to be 1 page or less. So if you have more activities that you want to tell us about that doesn't necessarily fit on your resume, you could go ahead and put that into the activities section too. And then, can family members submit letters of recommendation for legacy? Yes, I believe, yeah, family members can submit those letters.
Yeah, just
hop on that.
And then
Oh, go ahead.
so it's a 300-word limit. I'm pretty sure per. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Gwen.
Sorry, it's delayed. Now can you hear me? All right. For the legacy question, sometimes it varies based on chapter. So make sure that you look up the chapter and go to their national website, and it'll have further instructions. In some chapters, aunts count as legacies, and some they do not. And some grandmothers count, some they do not. So make sure that you just look up the chapter's national website, and then you can find all that information on there as well. Just wanted to add that.
Okay, real quick.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Jamie.
So I got a message about what is recruitment going to look like this year. So very broadly, recruitment is going to be on Zoom. So like we mentioned with the schedule, the first round, the open invite round, that is going to be just the applications that you're filling out. And so the chapter members will look at the application, and you will watch videos about the chapter in order to make your first list of ranking the chapter in order of, you know, which ones you love and love. So that's going to be what open invite's going to look like. And then for philanthropy and service, sisterhood and preference round, that's all going to be on Zoom. So each round, you will go ahead and go visit the chapters via Zoom. So how it's going to work is you'll be in a waiting room, kind of like you were before today for this meeting, and your rogamas, who are going to be your recruitment counselors, are going to bring you into the chapter essentially by admitting you in, and then the chapter you're at might just say like a little introduction or overview, and then you'll be sent into breakout rooms where you'll be with 2, 3, 4 other PNMs with other chapter members, and that is when you'll be able to have those conversations with them. So that's essentially what every single round, philanthropy and service, sisterhood round, and preference round is going to look like.
All right, then just going back to the chat, concurrent members from other universities or colleges submit rec letters. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe no. I believe they have to be of alum status, which means that they are outside of college, so not current active members in the chapters. So just if you know anyone that is not an active member or like recently graduated, they can happily write you a rec letter, but also rec letters and legacy information is not required, or like rec letters. I'm from the South, so I know the like Southern recruitment processes, and it's a lot different here. So rec letters aren't super like needed here if you're worried about that. All right.
Just to add to that real quick, Gwen. So another thing Alexis just added is that it also depends on the national organization, kind of like Gwen was saying before. So if you also want to go ahead and look at the chapter's websites, you can look a little bit more about how they classify their rec letters, whether it's alum versus current students.
Yes, and then the 300-word limit is 300 per question. All right. So once you—
And also, don't feel pressured to hit 300.
Yeah, for sure. Whatever you feel is necessary, and when you get your point across, that's perfect. All right, so when you submit the application, your like profile goes into our database, which we can see through ICS. And then over Thanksgiving break or towards the end of the month, we're going to make the groups with your rogamas based on that. So you don't have to worry about a confirmation email or anything. It might send you one, but your rogama is going to contact you as soon as we kind of divide the groups up. So that's exciting. And then also, if you're taking a lot of time and thinking about this, like the application isn't due until December 31st, so you can take your time. We just encourage you, if you want to be connected with your RoGAMA, to submit it earlier if you can. That makes sense. And then where do you submit rec letters? That is on the national organization's websites. There's usually like a portal or something that they can go off of and submit them that way. Or you can, I believe, Victoria, if you know, maybe you can send them to the chapters. That was how it was in previous years, but I'm not sure about this year.
I can hop in there. Yeah, that's correct. You can look at national websites and see their legacy information. But I do definitely recommend looking at chapter websites, individual chapter websites, which you can also find on the Pan-Hellenic website that I sent the link to. It'll have a list of all of our chapters there and then a link to their website. So most of those websites will have a link to a contact you can reach out to, either their chapter president or their recruitment chairs. So go there, email them, and see what they would like in terms of recommendation letters or legacy information. So that's what I would recommend for that.
Can I just pop back and elaborate a little bit on Katie's question regarding the modules? So I'm assuming, Katie, you're talking about prospective member orientation. So what a requirement to join a Greek chapter on campus is completing OSFL's prospective member orientation, which Jamie talked about. You will not receive a confirmation email once you've completed that. So as long as you go through all 3 modules and you get the confirmation that pops up when you're on your Canvas page saying that you completed it, then that's how you'll know. We'll confirm that on the back end, and so we'll let people know after registration closes if they've completed PMO correctly. So know that it's not going to automatically prompt you with the application for recruitment. You're going to have to navigate to enroll on your own, and that link's in the chat for you. If you're worried about your prospective member orientation not being completed correctly, log back into your Canvas page and just make sure you've clicked through all of the pieces. If you're still not sure, you can email us and we'll see if we can double check for you. But just want to make sure you know don't expect an email at this point.
So how do we join the Canvas page? So that is going to be the link that Alexis had sent earlier. Let me see if I can scroll up and find it. I'll copy and paste and send it again. So that link that I had just sent, that is where you will go and register for the prospective member orientation.
So there's a question about open invite chapter videos, asking if they're going to be different than normal recruitment videos. Yes. So the open invite videos, your RoGAMA will help you guys get access to those. So each chapter this year is going to film a short video with a few of their chapter members, giving them just information, general information about the chapter. And we're giving them a lot of flexibility. So they're just going to share what they think is important about the chapter, what they want you guys to know. So you're able to do your open invite ranking. So it'll look different. It'll be filmed through Zoom. It won't be your typical recruitment video.
Yep, awesome. So just to clarify, if we don't submit the application before Thanksgiving, we will not get a RoGAMA. No, that is not the case. So what we meant by that was that's like the very first round of group division. Like we're going to go through and divide the potential new members up into RoGAMA groups and then assign them. But as more PNMs register for recruitment, you will be added to a RoGAMA group. So you will have a RoGAMA, and she will be your best friend to help guide you through this whole process, no matter what. And like, we just encourage you, if you would like one sooner rather than later, to submit it earlier, but you're going to get one no matter what. So good question. And I hope that makes sense. And then how are RoGAMA groups divided? Yeah, it is random and there's nothing to it. Your RoGAMA is just going to have a group of just a few PNMs depending on how many register for recruitment. So that's exciting, and hopefully more people will register, so then we can have a little bit bigger groups and you can make friends with people who you probably have not met before. So that's exciting.
Okay, I see. Are the Canvas modules due the 31st too? So the Canvas modules are going to be due no later than the 22nd of January. So you must have them done by the 22nd of January in order to go through the formal recruitment process. So I recommend, getting it done as soon as you can. The sooner the better, just so it's not something that you're stressing about once you're, already have other aspects of recruitment to be thinking about. But yeah, I just want to reiterate, like Gwen was saying, the earlier you get your application done, the faster you'll get assigned to your Rogama, and she will just be such a great resource for you to ask any questions. So I know that from the very beginning, I really enjoyed having mine just to reach out to if I had any questions or concerns. So we really encourage you to get those applications in soon.
Yep, and then Kate, just to answer your question, we have 22 chapters on our campus, and 20 of those chapters are housed and 2 are not housed. Alpha Sigma Alpha and Theta Phi Alpha are unhoused, but the rest of the chapters are housed. So I hope that helps. These are great questions, and I'm really glad that everyone is asking them. So keep up the questions if you have them, or feel free to unmute, talk to us, whatever you want.
Yeah, I agree, Gwen. These are great questions, and we appreciate all of you coming here and being able to answer these. Okay, I got a question. What were the 2 unhoused chapters again? So the 2 unhoused chapters are Alpha Sigma Alpha and Theta Phi Alpha. And basically, they just don't necessarily have a designated chapter facility, but a lot of the times the members will still live in some of the same areas, and they are the same as every other chapter on campus, just the fact that they do not have a chapter facility.
I see the next question. Does every sorority require you to live in the house for a certain number of years? So that's actually information you can also find on the Panhellenic website that we have linked to. If you go under the link that says chapters, it'll go alphabetically. All 22 will be listed there, and each chapter name that you click on, our lovely VP of Recruitment, Liz Dietrich, worked really hard to find all that information and compile it for you. So let me look. Maybe it would help if I shared my screen with you all. Give me a second. Just so you can get a little visual here. Okay, just one second. Okay, can you see this? Awesome. So here we have the Panhellenic Association at Indiana University. So you have your home, about us, chapters, recruitment. This is the big one that you want to be looking at here. It'll have information on primary recruitment 2021. That's all the good stuff that we've been talking about. And then chapters, this is what I was talking about here, has all 22 listed right here alphabetically. So let's say you want to say if Alpha Chi Omega has a live-in requirement. So you just click on it. It'll show you all this information, including their social medias, their national website, all these fun little things here, nicknames, colors, symbols. It has GPA requirements, which is super important to look at. Their chapter's average GPA, and then obligations such as live-in policy, live-in dues, and then new member dues. So definitely take a look through each of these here. It has a lot of important information if you're curious to learn more about our chapters. But yeah.
Thank you, Alex, for showing that. Yeah, that's a great resource if you want to find out about any of the chapters on campus. So really encourage you all to look at that. For Sophia, will you get a confirmation email after completing the module? There will not be an email, but it should say complete on the Canvas module page. And that is something we're going to go through and check over winter break and just be able to confirm that for you. But there will be no email confirmation.
So the housing situation next year, it's really going to depend on everything that happens with COVID. I mean, we don't know what the future holds with COVID and living in chapter facilities with lots of other members. We're not really sure if that's going to change in the future. It's going to depend on chapter to chapter. If sophomores have to live in, and if they can do it junior or senior year, it's definitely something to talk to the chapter members about during recruitment. You can feel free to ask them any of these questions, and they're going to be able to explain it more to you, just because right now it's super unpredictable times, as you all know. So it's tough for us to answer that question just because we don't necessarily know and can't speak for all the chapters.
So bid day is also going to be virtual. We haven't necessarily ironed out all the kinks right now, but the chapters are going to try to do all they can to make it as special as possible. But as of now, and it will be virtual, yes.
Also, I just want to emphasize, I know that it might not be the absolute ideal situation that everything is virtual. And I'm sure if most of you are freshmen, you already feel kind of like your college experience hasn't been the most ideal. But we have a lot of really, really awesome people who are working super hard to make sure that this experience is still as normal as possible and still as fun as possible. Your road gammas were literally handpicked and are some of the greatest people ever. So we hope that you are still as excited about this as we are. And we really think that this virtual recruitment process is going to be a good way of seeing how our chapters actually reflect our values and how potential new members can find their values and make our whole process more values-based now that it's not in person and like walking around campus. So we're super excited to see how this recruitment process goes, and I'm sure that you can be nervous or a little bit unsettled about everything, but just have faith, and we have a great recruitment team here to try to make it the best experience for everyone. So don't be discouraged. We really, really encourage you to sign up. It's going to be fun no matter what. And yeah, so keep asking these questions. And you can always email any of us, the Road Gamma directors, IU PHA Rec, which is Liz Dietrich. Really, you have a lot of resources here who can help you.
Any more questions, comments, concerns that we can address? Are there any new sororities this year? There are not any new sororities this year. All 22 have been here past 3 years. I could be wrong, but they were here last year. And all 22 chapters are so amazing. They all have so much to add to our Panhellenic community.
And if there aren't any questions, we just kind of wanted to ask, feel free to unmute. We don't bite, I promise. So how are you all feeling about recruitment in general? Are you nervous? Are you excited? You don't really know what to expect? We can kind of talk about it and hopefully ease some of your concerns. All right.
I'm excited. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I'm excited. I think it'll be fun.
Love the positivity.
I see like everyone, I don't know, just in recent years, like everyone posts their experiences, not just rush, but then like after, and you see that and it makes you excited for like what's coming. So yeah.
I'm excited. I think it's going to be cool to meet a lot of new people, like after having this semester of not really meeting so many.
I'm really excited. I'm a little sad that it's like virtual and everything, but like we're gonna make the most of it and it's gonna be good. So I'm excited for like the overall experience and everything.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's been hard to meet people because of COVID, so it'll be nice to meet people with similar mindsets. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just excited to finally like be able to like meet like more people, and yeah, I'm just excited.
We love the positivity. We know it's definitely going to be something new. We've never experienced it either, so it's going to be new for all of us. And as sad as it is, I really appreciate all of your positivity, and I think you are all going to make the very best of it. And once you're in your walk or your row gamer groups as well, you'll have awesome opportunities to meet some other women going through the process with you. So, which I think will be super awesome because, like all of you have been saying, it's been hard because of COVID and not many things going on. So I think it's going to be really great.
I can answer the question regarding which chapter is the most diverse. So we don't really have statistics to say which one is the most diverse. But what I will say is that each chapter, I believe for the most part, has some sort of diversity and inclusion committee. Everyone is very dedicated to making our community a more diverse and inclusive environment. And I can speak for PHA Exec and their efforts that they've done this entire past year in fulfilling that goal. Moving into this year, and especially with recruitment, something that Morgan and Liz Dietrich, our VP, we've all been working on is reaching out to a lot of the cultural centers at IU, such as La Casa, the Neil Marshall Center, etc., and personally inviting more of their members to participate in primary recruitment. So we're really looking forward to expanding our diversity within Panhellenic.
All right, and then I can answer Jenna's question. Can we get dropped from a chapter before actually meeting any of the members on Zoom? Yes, because your application serves as your open round like introduction. Also, sorry, the light is on my face. It's really bothering me. But anyway, so your open round application is your your recruitment application, sorry, words, is your open round like submission. So chapters can then, after reading your application, decide whether or not they want to invite you back. And then you also get to decide whether or not you want to return to a chapter and actually get to meet their members based on their open round videos, if that makes sense. I know it's kind of confusing, but our process is very mutual. So if a chapter feels that you would be a good fit based on your application, they can choose to invite you back to their philanthropy and service round. And if you like a chapter's or you think that your values align with the chapter's open round video, then you and your row gamma can talk about that, and then you can rank the chapters higher and then potentially go back for the next round. So yes, there's a possibility that you could not get to talk to certain members of certain chapters, but that is just how this virtual process is going to work, unfortunately.
Go ahead. I was going to say, just a little bit more in depth, everything that Gwen said is very, very accurate. So essentially, we have 22 chapters. So open invite round, you will be watching the videos of 22 chapters. And like Gwen said about ranking, you'll go back and rank the top 16 chapters that you would like to go ahead and go back to. So the maximum amount of chapters you will be seeing for the philanthropy and service round is going to be 16. It could be 5, 6, 7, 8. It could be 2 or 3. It could be 12, 14, but the maximum number is going to be 16. So there will be, let's see if I can do math, 4, 5, 6 chapters minimum that you will be getting to see on Zoom.
Yep, and then Danielle's question, I heard from Boys and Frats that it's hard to get in the break rooms if your name isn't recognized. That is not true for sororities. IFC has a very, very different process than us. IFC is the fraternity council. They have a very different process, and it's not similar at all. Chapters have lists of all of your names in the PNMs that they are inviting back to every party. So they will have to let you in. They don't have a choice, and they want you to be there. So that is the other thing. So that's not true. Your name will be like on a list, if that makes sense. And then what if we signed a lease for next year? Can we get dropped for not living in the house? So Short answer, no. Longer answer, if you have already signed a lease, that's something that you can discuss with the chapter members and see if there are certain ways that, like, once you get further and further through the rounds with chapters, you can then ask them those more like specific in-depth questions, just because you'll get to know them better and you can kind of figure out if there's ways around the living requirement or what they would suggest doing. Like it's really up to the chapters, and like I said before, we can't really speak for individual chapters and their housing requirements. So definitely something to talk to your program about, and then also ask the chapters.
Carly, I see your question about any tips for how to answer the prompt questions. V, do you maybe want to kind of reiterate some of the main points you were talking about before with tips on how to answer those?
Yeah, sure. Also, we're recording the Zoom, so I'm not sure if we're going to post it on the website, but Carly, you're more than welcome to rewatch this Zoom, because Gwen and Jamie kind of went through and broke down each specific question from open invite, from the open invite questions. But essentially, the main theme is to be honest, be yourself, answer in a way, answer in an honest way that really shows and highlights your values, who you are, what you're passionate about, and also don't tell chapter members what you think they want to hear. Tell us about yourself. We want to know who you are, and that'll just be the most beneficial for you and for the chapter members, and it'll just make the process more successful if you're honest and tell us what you're passionate about. So that's kind of the main gist, but I would really recommend going back and listening to Jamie and Gwen's breakdown of each individual question, because that's super helpful.
I just had a quick question in regarding more of like the specific numbers. So you said for first round or after first round, you'll essentially have the max of 16 sororities you'll be invited back to. What does it look like throughout the whole process? Does it go like 16, 10, 4? I don't really know. So
that's a great question. So you'll go from 22 chapters. You will watch all of their videos for open invite. Philanthropy and service, it will be maximum of 16. And then going into sisterhood round, it'll be maximum of 9. And then preference round, it'll be maximum of 2. So the key emphasis here is that that's the maximum. It's not always going to be the case where you're getting exactly 16, exactly 9, or exactly 2. And that's just something to keep in mind. And your program will stress to you a lot more that just because maybe you get 15 or maybe you get 5, it's not something to be discouraged by at all. Those are just the maximum amount of parties that you would have the opportunity to attend. Good question, Grace.
Thank you.
No pressure to ask more questions. We hope this has been insightful, and if you have any like individual questions, feel free to stay back and ask them, or if you want to keep sending them in the chat, that also works. But we appreciate you all being here with us, and we hope this has helped a little bit.